Welcome to session 3 of Unit 2, Human Resource Management. Here we are going to learn about the general conditions of employment in Ghana. At the end of this session, we should be able to identify some areas of fairness in employment covered by law in Ghana, cite at least 2 specific examples in the areas, and compare provisions of the law in Ghana to those of the UK and the States of America as seen in session 2. From here, we are going to learn about employment of persons with disability, employment for women, employment of young persons, and employment for persons with forced labor. How does the law deal with these issues? Yes. So first off, we are going to go with employment of persons with disability. A disabled person can be issued a certificate by the Chief Labor Officer. So a disabled person can go and register with the Chief Labor Officer or his office for a certificate of disability. Secondly, per law, special incentives which are determined by the minister may be provided to employers who employ persons with disability. A disabled person who is engaged in a business. Employment may not cease upon disablement. Here we are saying that if you've already employed someone and the person is disabled in the course of delivering his activities, the person should not be terminated, or the contract should not be terminated, sacked, or forced to resign because a person is disabled. Length of notice of termination of a person with disability shall not be shorter than 1 month. If you want to terminate a disabled person from your organization, you should serve a notice which is not shorter than 1 month. This means at least the person should be given a 1-month notice before he or she is terminated from the workplace. Training or retraining expense for a person disabled after employment must be catered for by the employer or organization. If you have employed someone and in the course of employment the person is disabled either on the course of work or an accident, the person should be retrained if necessary based on the technology the person will have to now use to be able to carry out his day-to-day activities, or trained if you think you want to reassign him to a different job that is more suitable or that he can do in his disabled state. However, this expense of the training or retraining would be borne by the employer or the organization. So we are talking about laws that guide employment of women. So here, first off, night work or overtime by pregnant women. I'm reading. So unless with her consent, an employer shall not assign or employ a pregnant woman worker to do any night work between the hours of 10 in the evening and 7 o'clock in the morning. You can't engage a pregnant woman after 10 in the evening or before 7 in the morning. It's against the law. You shouldn't engage a pregnant woman to do overtime. So goes for a mother of a child who is less than 8 months old. If a woman has delivered at your workplace and her child is not more than 8 months, the person should not be involved in overtime. Otherwise, the pregnant woman worker or mother may present a complaint to the National Labour Commission and the law will take care of it from there. The next one, prohibition of assignment of pregnant women. An employer shall not assign, whether permanently or temporarily, a pregnant woman worker to a post outside her place of residence after completion of the 4th month of pregnancy, if the assignment, in the opinion of a medical practitioner or midwife, is detrimental to her health. So this is to say that if someone has been pregnant for more than 4 months, or the person is pregnant exactly at the 4th month, without a report from a medical practitioner or midwife that clears the person that, oh yes, she's healthy enough to travel to this place to carry out the job you want the person to do, you are not supposed to send a pregnant woman for 4 months and over to such an assignment. It's against the law. The pregnant woman worker may present a written complaint to the commission against the employer who contravenes. So if you flout this law, then a commission can carry a lawful action against you. Maternity and annual and sick leave of women. So a woman worker on the production of a medical certificate issued by a medical practitioner or a midwife indicating the expected date of her confinement is entitled to a period of maternity leave of at least 12 weeks in addition to any annual leave she is entitled after her period of confinement. So, let's say you're a pregnant woman and you're working 3 months before your due date, you should be granted a maternity leave. In addition to, if you have any annual leave that probably you planned you were going to get pregnant, so that from November through to January, you can enjoy the Christmas in the house, the New Year in the house, they should grant you that leave. And any other accumulated leave that you had put down to be added to this, even if it's 6 months, that means you are going to be given a leave of absence of 9 months per the law. It is your right. A woman worker on maternity leave is entitled to be paid her full remuneration and other benefits to which she is entitled. So if the pregnant woman is on leave for 9 months as per the first point, 6 months, 4 months, 3 months, 1 day, 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 months, 4 years. Sorry, I don't think anyone will compile a leave of 4 years. But assuming the person should be given her pay, her remuneration without any cuts. The period of maternity may be extended for at least 2 additional weeks and is abnormal or where the cause of confinement of 2 or more babies are born. So when you've given birth to twins, triplets, the law requires that at least you should be given an extension of 2 more weeks in your 3 months, in addition to any annual leave that probably you are due. Where an illness medically certified by a medical practitioner is due to her pregnancy, the woman worker is entitled to additional leave as certified by the medical practitioner. So if your medical practitioner says that, oh, you are pregnant, so you shouldn't be commuting to work, you are entitled to be given a leave of absence based on your illness. Where an illness medically certified by a practitioner is due to her confinement, the woman worker is entitled to extension of leave after confinement as certified by the medical practitioner. So, after your leave, probably you did C-section and you still not recovered. Per law, the medical practitioner can write a report for you so that your organization can find a reason to extend your leave. A nursing mother is entitled to interrupt her work for an hour during her working hours to nurse her baby. Most organizations allow workers to bring their newborn babies. They have a place for those children to be kept where they pay for. As to the organization or the employers can pay. It's also a benefit, can pay so that you can bring your wards or your case to work. In that sense or not, you are allowed an hour break to nurse your child. So if your mother or someone looking after the kid at home can bring the child, you're entitled to an hour break to feed the child so they can go back to work. So interruption of any work by a nursing mother on the purpose of nursing her baby shall not be treated as working hours and be paid for accordingly. So this 1 hour break, irrespective, you are going to be paid your normal remuneration. That even if you are being paid on hourly basis, you should still be paid for the hour break that you take to nurse your child. Prohibition of employment of young persons in hazardous work. A young person shall not be engaged in any type of employment or work likely to expose the person to physical or moral hazard. So if you're employing a child or a person below 18 years, as per regulatory requirements, an adult is 18 years, the person should not be exposed to physical or moral hazard. The minister may, by legislative instruments, determine the type of employment that is likely to expose young persons to physical or moral hazard. So by legislative instruments, the minister can say that these kind of jobs or these categories of jobs are physically and morally hazardous to a young person. An employer shall not employ a person in an underground mine work. A person who contravenes or flouts subsection A or C commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 100 penalty units. I don't know as to whether that is in Ghana cedis or not, but 100 penalty units. Employment of young persons. So we have health of young persons. An employer shall not employ a person on any work unless a medical practitioner has certified that the young person is in good health and is medically fit for the job. So if you're employing someone, a medical practitioner should declare the child to be medically fit for the job that he or she has been recruited for. When a person fails to comply with Section A, the person shall be ordered by the minister to have the medical examination conducted by the organization. If an employer decides to employ young persons, he or she, the organization as well, should register such young persons. An employer in an industrial undertaking shall keep a register of young persons employed by him or her and their dates of birth or their apparent ages. So by law, you are required to register these children or these young persons so that when the law comes and you are being tackled for child abuse, at least you can provide the evidence of registration. The child labor officer shall direct an employer who fails to comply with subsection A to do so within a specified time, and the employer shall comply with the direction. Prohibition of forced labor. So per law, if you are forced into labor, these are the laws that protect you. A person shall not be required to perform forced labor. It is an offense for an employer to exact or cause to be exacted or permit to be exacted for his or her benefit forced labor from any worker. So by law, you are not supposed to be forced to work. If you think you are not going to do overtime for your worker, your employer, you can tell your employer, boss, it's time, I've closed. I don't want to do overtime. I'll do it tomorrow. So you are not required to perform forced labor. It is an offense if your employer decides to force you to do it. And if you are not, even if you are going to benefit, he's going to give you reward. As far as you are not willing to, you are forced against the law, so you can sue your employer. Any employer convicted for an offense under subsection B is liable to a fine not exceeding 250 penalty units. In this session, we have learned about the general conditions of employment. We've looked at employment conditions or legal requirements or legal employment conditions for persons with disability, employment for women, employment of young persons, and forced labor. I hope none of you is going through any of these scenarios, but if you are, these are some of the laws that protect you, so you can take legal actions. Thank you. See you in our next session.